This channel is supported by Truefire. Truefire is an online library of lessons from some of my favourite... Alright, give it a rest, bud. Anyway, the All Access Pass membership is available for $150 off at the moment up till Christmas Eve. If you're looking for an opportunity to get in at that, so $99 for access to all of the Truefire stuff for a year. Pretty good deal. Okay, so I was reading this article about best-selling pedals in 2024, and a couple of these still feature on that. So the Boss Blues Driver, legendary pedal by this point, the SD1 legendary pedal. I don't think the OD3 is one that many people know about, and certainly OD1X is another one of those ones that maybe folks have not heard of too much. So in this video I kind of wanted to chuck this one on, see what it's like, but talk more generally about why Boss pedals are a really safe bet. You can't go wrong buying a Boss pedal was basically what it said in this article, and I thought, yeah, it's got a fair point there. By the way, if you like any of the backing tracks you hear on this channel ever, or some of the lick lessons, you could join Patreon for £2 a month. You can get access to my backings and request any backings from the videos that I make if you want a place to play over the stuff that I play over in the intros. Boss, I think, are a really safe bet. Now, there are some, posh pedals out there, and there's some really cheap pedals out there. Boss, I think, are good for a few reasons. So one is they're super available. That's also the case, they're super available used. So you can almost always find like an SD1 or an OD3 or a Blues Driver for pretty reasonable money used. And that's a really good thing, because basically it means you can try a Boss pedal, see whether it works for you, and sell it on for the same price that you pay for it, and no one really has to worry about it. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those kind of nice things. There are other pedals out there where because they're a little bit less available or less known, that you spend the money on them, and even if you buy them used, sometimes it's a bit like, well, that's going to hang around a while if I buy it. Say like a Van Wilden Royal Overdrive or something like that, something super boutique. You'll pay a lot of money for it, and then because it's a lot of money, they're kind of difficult to shift on again. Whereas Boss pedals sell really well. My buddy the other day kind of put up a Boss looper that he'd got in a trade, and within like 7 minutes it had sold. It's kind of, people are looking to try Boss pedals. Easy pedal to sell. That's, you know, if I'm ever looking to sell some pedals, and you don't necessarily have to worry too much as well, because it's like, oh, I can buy a Boss blues driver again if I ever get the need to buy one again. I sold my Angry driver the other day, then did a gig with a Nobels ODR 1 and thought actually it would have been nice to have a bit of a bass cut here, so the Angry driver would have been useful. If I ever want an Angry driver again, I know I can probably go on eBay, and most days of the week there'll probably be an Angry driver on there. Probably. The things like the OD1X, this belongs to my buddy Tony from up the road. This is a bit of a different pedal. I think these are like Cosm based or MDP based, one of the two, but either way they're a little bit harder to come by if you did decide that you like the sound of one of those. But yeah, so that's one really cool thing. The other thing is that they do end up on pros boards. Now I did do a video on this a while back, which is like, why do pros choose Boss pedals? And there's some really like prominent players that have used them on their board. And it's not just because they're paid by Boss, I presume. I don't think it's just because they're cheap, because a lot of these people won't be paying for pedals anyway, but also because, like, say you're touring around the world, what is more dependable in the pedal world than a Boss pedal? Like, you go to any music shop basically, or any part of the world, a Boss pedal, you should be able to find a replacement, right? And I think that's kind of one of the really cool things about Boss pedals. Not only that though, I don't really hear that many stories about Boss pedals breaking. I've never had it happen to me. I don't know if you guys have had it happen to you, but they are pretty dependable, which is a good thing as well, of course, if you're touring these things. I think one of the things I kind of assume with some of this stuff is that, or in the past would have, that a Boss pedal wouldn't necessarily sound as good as some boutique options out there, or, you know, maybe they're improved by some of the American guys that do their own take on a Boss pedal. But when I've actually got back to demoing the actual things, I don't know whether part of this is like fetishism because it's like a Boss pedal and I know that it's cheaper than more expensive stuff, but I find that I'm actually reliably impressed by some of these pedals and can find things that really work for me. Like the OD3, I think, is one of my favourite drives. I've never gigged it, but maybe I should. Blues driver, an amazing sort of transparent-ish, glassy drive pedal, in my opinion. SD1, you know, it's been a standard for a long time. And this is just their drives. I think across the range there's some other good things, lots of good things about them. For instance, I'm thinking that I want to check out a GE7 and maybe try one of those on a board. I know that GE7s now are ending up on, you know, like players in Nashville's boards quite a lot. I think having an EQ pedal on a pedal board is a really good idea. As for whether or not they sound as good as like some other really good drives out there, I kind of wanted to, in this video, sort of ended up just doing a test where this is a Vemuram Shanks ODS1 based on the Nobels ODR. This is a Boss OD3. New in the UK, this would be about £419. New in the UK, this is about 100. Used, you can get these for about 300. Used, you can get these for about 60. Does it sound like one is much, you know, more boutique than the other? Is kind of the thought that I first wanted to test out. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. So this little guy here is kind of known. This little guy here sort of similar-ish. I like that you've got bass and treble control on the OD1X. I think we've got more gain on this one. If I max the gain. and we've also got control of the lows. A bit of a more versatile pedal maybe. So I think I prefer the OD3, but I'm not necessarily. Now I wanted to compare it to something a lot more high end. I am unfortunately always impressed when I plug into a Vemuram because they're expensive. A bit louder right now. Let's crank the gain on both and see what we get. So a bit more gain on the OD3. And this seems to have a bit more bass. If I turn off the camera, is it obvious which I'm playing? And I think they're going to stack nicely. That's just the OD3, just the ODS. For me personally, I'm going to check the audio, but I feel like the OD3 is holding up really nicely there. It's not every single Boss pedal that I feel like is like an amazing drive. Like a DS1 for me doesn't necessarily work, but the OD3, some of the things like the Blues driver as well, I think they're just pedals that seem to me to work really well, particularly as a single coil player, and I think stands up perfectly decently with the Vemuram ODS there, and I really like that pedal. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, your favourite Boss drives, and you know, whether they work for you or not. Let me know if you've got Boss drive pedals that you think need to be checked out, or that are maybe less well known. I think we all know about things like the DS1, the SD1, the OD3 I think is a little bit less well known, the BD2, the second best selling drive of the year, so people know about that. But let me know your thoughts, and are you a Boss user, a Boss enjoyer?